Hey everybody, D here, Daily Gaming. In this episode, we are going to start playing Ark on the Ragnarok map. Now, if you want to know my game settings, look at the previous episode, episode 0. That's where I cover everything and why I have my settings the way they are. In this episode, we are just going to jump straight in. Sorry. When I was recording episode 0, I just had a sudden violent coughing fit at the end, and I took a little break. Drinking out some water, trying to clear my throat out. I feel like I just have a constant tickle at the back of my throat. So if I cough suddenly, I apologize. Now, one thing I thought was cool, man, that the loading time is so much faster on the PS5. God, it's just so much faster. So yeah, if you look at the map, you can see, you know, I've spent some time on the map, did some exploring and stuff. I haven't done a whole lot. Excuse me. And even if you erase your save data, the sections of the map you discovered stay filled in. So, the only way to do it, I believe the only way to clear it is just to completely uninstall the game and reinstall it. I think. I'm sure on the computer there's an easier way to do it, but on console I think that's the only way to do it. It's weird. But anyways, character customization. You can do some pretty wild stuff. Everything's based on sliders, skin, hair, eye color, and then body type. Changing the body type does not affect hitboxes. Every character has the same exact hitbox, so making yourself smaller and thinner will not give you a smaller, harder to hit target. It may appear that way, but it actually doesn't. Because I've heard of people taking in PvP doing snipe shots, missing, and still hitting the character. Or knowing a character was standing behind something, but they made their character small and still getting hit because their hitbox was actually still above the boulder or whatever they were hiding behind. Jesus, sorry. Anyways. Let's give him some orange eyes. No. Blue eyes, yeah. Blue eyes, brown hair, there we go. Now, typically, I just like making my guy shorter, more stocky, kind of look like Popeye. I think it looks cool. So, make his neck a little shorter. Oh wait, no, not the size, the length, a little shorter. Oop, not that, there. Has to take the arm length in, and his arms are gonna look more natural once I adjust the other settings. And yeah, I don't know why, but I think he looks cool with thinner biceps, with bigger forearms, broad shoulders. Yeah, I think he just looks cool like that. Leg length. Yeah, you see, he looks more natural now. Oops. Let's name him Rorik. Alright, so now whenever you start on the map, you have spawn regions. The difficulty of the spawn region depends on the map, honestly. On a couple of the maps, some of the easiest spawn points are the medium difficulty spawn points. And some fairly difficult ones are the easy ones, because they'll spawn you on a beach, but that beach also has T-Rex or Allosaur spawns. So, yeah, typically, the lower you are, and the closer you are to the beach, the safer it is. That's a general rule of thumb. But like I said, on some of them, you can get T-Rexes that spawn on the beaches and stuff. So, it's not a solid rule, but it's just a rule. A general rule. Sorry, another coughing fit. Let me get a drink. Okay. Uh, but yeah, the spawn points, you just spawn in a random general spot. You see a lot of them, some of them are very close together. Some of them actually overlap. You can pick jungle 1 and you'll spawn somewhere in jungle 2. These three, like, yeah, they're pretty much right on top of each other. You can get in very wide spots, but you can also get overlapping spots or the very same spots. It's weird. Viking Bay, not, it can be a good place to start, but it can also be very dangerous. It's luck based. Viking Bay has a very steep incline with very, and like I said, the higher it goes, the more dangerous it gets. So you can get some really dangerous stuff up high coming down, very easily coming down to the beach where you're at. So it's hit and miss. You can get lucky and you'll be fine, or you can have an allosaur pack come down and just take over the whole entire beach. The Highlands, it can be a very good area. The problem is oh, excuse me. You're gonna be doing a lot of suicide runs. It's a wide open area. There's not a lot of aggressive monsters. You're not gonna find Carnos or Raptors out there, but you're gonna get Gigas spawn. There's a newer dinosaur. It's something like a Giga and a T-Rex. I can't remember what it's called. It's very dangerous, but that spawns out there. But you only get one of each that spawn there. So you have to do suicide runs to lead it away from wherever you are. But you can also get Allosauruses, so again, more spawn run or more suicide runs. But if you're lucky and none of them are in the area, you have a very easy setup. It's a wide open area. There's a lot of resources. It's very easy to get a decent base going out there. On the other hand, there's not a whole lot of dinosaurs either. Most of the dinosaurs out there are Gallimimus, I think that's what it is. It's like an ostrich thing. Pteranodons, brontosaurs. Those are the main ones. I think you'll get a couple trikes, maybe along the beach, a few parasaurs. You do also need to be careful because in between the Highlands and Viking Bay, that's all volcanic region. Oh God, sorry. I hope that doesn't come in as horrible. I keep lifting my mic up and it mutes it, so I hope it doesn't make a bad noise. When I'm trying to do that when my coughing hits. I don't know why all of a sudden I'm just coughing so horribly. But anyways, in between these two regions, it's volcanic, so you can get things in the volcanic region coming over to the Highlands, and also there is a dragon ravine in the Highlands. It's closer towards the volcanic region, yeah, so if you get too close to it, you can pull the dragons out of stasis and have them wandering around. And yeah, you don't want that. They're the most dangerous things on the map besides the Giga. Now the southwest region, it's kind of like Viking Bay. It's hit and miss. It can be a very peaceful, chill area. You'll get some raptors, some saber-tooths, but if you're lucky, there's nothing around. Or you can be unlucky and have a T-Rex and a Giga spawn in on you. Yeah, it's it's very hit and miss. You can't spawn in on the right southern hemisphere, and that's the desert area. I don't know why they don't let you spawn there. Now, I typically just say I think the best area is just Jungle 1. If you want a pretty easy start, that's the best. There's a lot of loot, a lot of resources, and it's fairly easy. So that's what we're gonna pick. Yeah, if you pick Jungle 1, more often than not, you're going to spawn in right here. But if it's funny, because if you look at the map, this is pretty much Jungle 2 area. Alright, so this is going to kind of start off as a beginner's guide and a let's play, and transition into just a let's play. So staying in theme with that, when you first start off, first thing you want to do is look around, make sure there's nothing running at you. If something's running straight at you, more than likely it wants to eat you. If you're playing on this map and you start off over here, you should be perfectly fine. There shouldn't be anything over here that wants to eat you. So the next thing you want to do is just start gathering resources. On some maps, you can see sticks and rocks laying on the ground. On some maps you can pick them up, on some maps you can't. With rocks, it's a hit and miss. Some rocks are just decoration, some rocks are actually rocks. But just walk around and use the interact command or whatever it is, you pick it up. Console on PlayStation is triangle, and you can see I'm picking up resources. Now you can see here everything you pick up, it tells you on the left side of the screen. Now you can see I picked up that one stick and I got 9 wood. That's because of my increased harvest settings. Base settings, if you see that one stick equals 1 stick, or 1 wood. This 1 stone, when I pick it up, you say I got 2 stone. In basic settings, that's 1 stone. These little guys right here, dodos, they're very useful. Good source of meat, hide, and also a good way to get some kibble going. Some basic kibble going. Lyrosauruses, a very easy creature to tame and to own, but they don't really do anything, so it's mainly just a good source of hide and meat. In the base version of the game, they were more useful when it was really hard to level up. Now that it's easy to level up, you don't really need them. The next thing you want to do is find a bush and just smash that gather button. And you can see I'm gathering a bunch of berries on the left side of the screen. More importantly, I'm gathering fiber. And you can see we've already leveled up. Even on the base settings of the game, the first couple levels went by fairly quick. But now, I guarantee you I've already got like, probably 3 levels. But I can't even do anything with them. Well, now I can, but I needed a few seconds to gather some resources before I could do anything. So you just want to gather a lot of resources. And you can see we're already getting kind of heavy. On the right side of the screen has a bunch of icons. The arrow is your experience. The one below that's a weight. That's how much you weigh. Below that's a teardrop. That's how your thirst level. The more full it is, the less thirsty you are. Below that is a meat popsicle. The more full it is, the less hungry you are. Below that's a lightning bolt. That's your stamina. And below that is your health. So you can see our weight's already getting kind of high. All we've gathered is a bunch of... Oh, this is all like DLC stuff. Don't want any of it, so just going to drop it with L2. You can see most of our inventory is just berries. Excuse me. Now, out of these berries, the only one, you can hold on to any of them if you want, but the only ones you really need to hold on to at this point are the measure berries and the narco berries. And don't eat the narco berries. If you eat the narco berries, if you eat too many, you'll get knocked out and you'll just be stuck laying there until it wears off and you wake up. If you're playing with standard settings, when you gather any seeds, hold on to those seeds, specifically like savroot, longgrass, rock carrot seeds, or citronal seeds, and narcoberry seeds. If you're playing with settings like mine, you don't need to worry about it. These are easy to get. So you can just drop the seeds. Any berry seeds, don't worry about. Gathering berries is very, very easy once you get some dinosaurs. So you don't need to worry about growing berries. So, so we're going to go ahead and throw away some of these berries just to clear out some weight. Like I said, we're going to hold on to the narco berries and the measure berries. We're just going to throw the rest of them. And yeah, we got 3 levels now. Now the first, I always bump my weight up first. I always get my weight up to about 150 because weight adds up quick, and you're really going to limit yourself if your weight isn't up high. So I always get my weight up to 150, and then after that, I start focusing on some back to weight later on. So for now, we'll dump these first 3 points into weight. And 1 point got us. 1 point is 10 things of weight. And with each point, you get engram points. You can see how many you have at the top of the screen. Right now we have 24. Man. How many... Each time you level up, you get engram points. How many engram points you get varies depending on your level. Once you get later in the game, up to like level 50 or like past level 60 or 70, I think that once one level up gives you like 30 or 40 engram points. You can see we just leveled it up 3 times. We don't even have 30. So as you level up, you get a lot of engram points. You use these engram points to learn these engrams. These engrams let you craft and build things, armor, structures, cooking stuff, weapons, blah blah blah. See, and then which ones you can learn are locked behind your level. You see, because now we're level 4, so we can learn up to level 4. Don't worry about learning everything. You can't learn everything. It's physically impossible, no matter what, unless you tweak the game on the computer. If you're on computer and tweak the game, you can learn everything, but you don't need to learn everything. A lot of the stuff is just for fun, so you have no use for it at all. Some of the stuff you only actually need to learn once because once you learn it. Sorry. Once you learn it and once you make it, you don't need to make it again, and you can actually use a mind wipe tonic and forget about it because you don't need it again. At the same time, there's loot. Whenever you loot, can I see any from here? No, I can't see any. Nothing's dropped yet. There's loot crates that drop from the sky, and you can also find them in caves and stuff like that. As you loot those, you get blueprints. So even with all these blueprints and engrams you learn, you don't need most of them because you're going to get blueprints, so you can forget them because you have blueprints to craft those items. So you don't need to worry about learning everything, and you don't need or you can't learn everything, and you don't need to worry about learning everything. Now, starting off, the first one that you do absolutely need to get is stone hatchet, because you have to have a pick and a hatchet. These are the two necessities of the game. Everything else you can possibly go without. These two you have to have because you can't do anything else without them. After that, you can learn whatever you want, but typically I always go with the spear, cloth pants, cloth shirt, and the cloth hat. Now, if you're playing with standard settings, I suggest skipping the cloth gloves, cloth boots, and the water skin. They need hide. They need hide, and hide is a little hard to get unless you're in a rich area with a lot of dodos and stuff, because then you can make your spear and kill them, and then you can get them. But you typically don't really need them at the moment. What's more important is getting a little bit of armor that you can easily make with just fiber, and then getting a house or a little hut built. So after learning those 4 engrams or 5 engrams, I work on thatch foundation, thatch door frame, thatch door. And there we go. So now we can switch to the regular view. We can make some armor. And we're probably going to level up here soon anyways in a second, because I need to gather some thatch real quick. I forgot that. There we go. We have a little bit of armor to protect ourselves. It's not going to do much, but it's something. Alright, and then I was talking about gathering up fiber from the bushes. You also need to gather thatch. Well, in some maps you can find it laying on the ground. Actually, there's none over here. But all you do is go to a tree and punch it. And you can see as I punch it, I'm getting thatch and wood. Don't go overboard on this, because if you see my health, you see it flickering as I'm doing this. It means I'm taking damage. You're hurting yourself as you do it. You can punch a tree for so long it kills you. Oop, there's one of those nasty buds. That's one of the nasty dinosaurs, the Dillo. Have you ever seen the original Jurassic Park movie? The big dude that causes everything to happen, who steals the stuff, he gets killed by one of those. They spit at you. They're not that dangerous and pretty easy to outrun, but watch out for them. Alright, so we leveled up again. So again, more weight. Keep learning the thatch stuff. And early on, you're really going to be struggling to figure out what to craft or what to learn, because you're going to be out leveling what engrams you can learn. Like you're going to be on like level 5 or level 10 engrams, and you're going to be at almost level 20. Don't worry about it. Like I said, once you get to the higher levels, you start getting a lot of engram points, and by that point, there's going to be whole levels of stuff where you don't want anything or don't need anything. So those 40 to 50 engram points you just got, you can use on getting stuff that you didn't learn before. Now, from what I always do on this map is once I spawn in, once I get a little bit of armor. Oops, I never actually crafted my pick. I get a little bit of armor, craft my pick. Put my pick down here in the first slot. You can see you have slots down here. Your quick bar. Only thing you should ever put in the very last slot is measure berries or meat. Yeah, just like junk food you can throw away. There's a creature called a Pegomastax that'll attack you, and he steals whatever's in that slot. If there's nothing in that slot, he steals a random item from your inventory. So never put anything important in that slot. If you're worried about it attacking you, you can put measure berries in that slot, and when it attacks you, it'll steal the measure berries and actually tame itself. So it's not a very useful thing, but I mean, it's a dinosaur you can tame if you want. But so after I get my armor and thatch, if you follow the path I'm going, one of the first things I do on this map is I always go off this way. And I'll show on the actual physical map in a second where I'm going, because there's some loot crates up here, and sometimes you get lucky and you can get some really nice stuff out of these things. But pretty much just want to head to you want to go east and then follow the beach, and they're right here. Oops, I wore myself out. When you're sprinting, always stop sprinting before your stamina runs out. If you sprint until your stamina runs out, it takes much longer for your stamina to recover. But these loot crates right here, I don't think other maps have them. I think it's only Ragnarok that does. But these, if you come over and smash them, you can see right there, I just got 5 spears. I just got a wooden shield with more spears. Ooh, I am not getting lucky. A lot more spears. Some arrows, that's good. Come on, give me something. Come on. Oh, wow. I got gypped. Alright, so sometimes that's too many spears. I weigh too much. I gotta drop them. Yeah, that was like 40 spears. Oh my god. That was just spears, right? Yeah, spear. That's what I thought. No, pick you up, not the arrows and the shield. Okay. Yeah, I got really unlucky here. Sometimes you can come over here and you can get metal tools, crossbow, a bow. You can get some narcotics and stuff like that. Yeah, I got really unlucky here. But that's why I usually come over here when you first start off, because you can get lucky and get some nice stuff, and it gives you a really big boost. Because obviously the metal tools are much better than your primitive tools. And my dog is pouting because he wants attention. But earlier I wanted to give him attention, and he was like, no, he pushed me away. He literally pushed me away. He was laying there. I went over to scratch him, and he like put his paw up and pushed my hand away. And I was like, alright, screw you. But oops, I'm getting thirsty. Early on, when you're getting thirsty, just find a water source. Just walk and just hit gather at the water source, and it fills it up. All right, so if you're playing on, if you're following along, try to avoid that tree area right there for now. It's not that dangerous, but you can get raptors in there. And at this point, we're not ready to handle them, so it's much easier just to avoid that area for the moment. They'll stay in stasis, and you won't have to worry about them. and that's something else. Uh, obviously, the console can't handle all these dinosaurs constantly roaming the map. So once you're a certain distance away, the dinosaurs enter stasis. When they're in stasis, they never move. They just sit there waiting. And then once you come back within a certain range, they get pulled out of stasis. So it's good to know that, because if you see something dangerous and you don't want it to roam around, you need to run far away from it, and then you know it's locked in place off in that direction, and as long as you don't go in that direction, you're safe. Vice versa, if you see a high-level dinosaur that you want, but you're not ready to tame, or you're in the middle of doing something else, you can leave the area, and it'll put the creature in stasis, and then you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about it being killed or something happening to it, because it was roaming around. Alright, so that's I saw something over there. Maybe, oh, it was a parasaur. Okay. Alright, so yeah, one thing to point out real quick is yeah, that's the area right there. I don't have, oh, here we go, pointer. This area right there, you can get raptors up there. Keep an eye off in that direction. You'll see it. Sometimes you get therizinosaurs over there. Therizinosaurs, if you don't know, are these giant chickens that were crossbred with Freddy Krueger. They're horrible. They are horrible. They're extremely dangerous. They're extremely aggressive, and they hit like a damn truck. It will destroy you and your dinosaur. If you're playing with standard settings, it'll absolutely destroy you. You will not stand a chance. So you want to keep an eye out. Make sure it doesn't start roaming this way. If it does start roaming towards you, wait until it gets like up to here. If it starts getting somewhere up over here, then you want to start doing suicide runs to lead it out towards the water to try and get it away from your base or whatever. And because this is where I'm going to set up my base. I really like this area, right next to a water source. There's a crap load of metal, very short distance away. Plenty of dodos and other stuff like that to harvest. So I'm going to set up my first base right here. I'm actually going to do it right here on the edge of this cliff, because I'm going to try and go for a certain little style. Let me see. I don't know how well it's going to work, but we're going to give it a shot. So, when building your first base, we learned thatch structures. Oh, actually, before I even build my base, I never built the second weapon. That's incredibly important. Once you have a pick, you need to find any stone, and just go give it a few whacks. And you can see I get flint and stone from it. Now that I have some stone, I can make my hatchet. And then I can also make a torch, which torch you already know. Yeah, when you start the game, you automatically know, like a torch, a pick, and a note. You automatically know those. I don't know why the note, and I don't know why the torch, but you do. Torch is good for obviously illuminating the night, but mainly it's good for keeping you warm. So depending on where you start and depending on your fortitude, it's going to get cold at night. So the torch will keep you warm and keep you alive. Now that we have a hatchet and a pick, we can go ahead and start building our little hut. Thatch structures are very heavy, so you don't want to go too big with them, and you don't want to try and gather, and you don't want to try and craft too many at once, because it's going to quickly and easily weigh you down. Thatch is the only structures that, as you build them, make you weigh more, which doesn't make any sense. It's like you need a certain number of resources to craft thatch structures, and the game's like, okay, now you weigh even more. Like, I don't understand how that works, but whatever. So for crafting, and I didn't really go over this, but when you bring up your inventory for console, you just press the right bumper or shoulder and switches over to crafting. And right there is all the engrams you've learned. Early on, there's not a whole lot, so this view is okay, but once you get to the later game and you know like dozens of engrams, you have the folder view. The folder view breaks everything down into categories, and then it makes it easier to find certain stuff, because it can be very time consuming to try and find one engram when you're scrolling through like 200 of them. So for now, we'll just leave it in folder view, and then once you hover over a engram, it tells you what it is, and it tells you what resources you need to craft it. The first number is what you have. The second number is what you need. So this one needs 15 fiber. We have 279. It needs 20 thatch. We have 53. And 6 wood, and we have 78. So we have enough resources to make 2 of them. Let's go ahead and gather some more thatch. Oops, wrong button. Alright, so now we have enough resources to make a bunch of them. Alright, there you go. Go down, you stupid tree. And remember, my settings are tweaked so that I get a lot of resources very easily. You're not going to get this many resources this quickly. I just want to point that out, so people are like, well, you went over there and smacked one tree. Oh, it's a parasaur again. Smacked one tree and got 200. I smacked a tree and only got 20. Like, because that's what the standard settings is. So, like, the standard settings, you get no resources with primitive tools. It's very, very time consuming to gather resources. So let's go ahead and craft 4 thatch foundations. Actually, let's go ahead and craft 6. Let's drop the stem berries. Oh yeah, out of the berries, I said you want to hold on to the narco berries and the meji berries. Let's pick it back up. These stem berries, do not eat them. They dehydrate you and make you poop like crazy, and you can kill yourself if you eat them. Like your food will drain. When your food drains, you become starts draining your health, and it'll kill you. And it's a dot effect. So even if you start eating other stuff, it can still be negative. It can still be draining for a while before it starts actually recovering. So don't eat the stem berries. If you at this point, before we haven't gathered meat or anything yet, if you are getting hungry, just gather up some bushes real quick and eat the berries. Just not the stem berries or the narco berries. Do not eat those. You can even you don't want to eat the meji berry, but you can even eat those if you have them. I'm getting a little hungry, so go ahead and eat them. On console, just hold R2, and you'll just start eating that stack indiscriminately if it is edible. Now, with back to the building, to lay down structures, you just highlight it in your inventory, and you just press R2. And you can see it's now right there in front of us. Foundations can be placed almost anywhere. There are some settings you can tweak in your engrams to allow them to clip through things, or to allow them... that parasaur is getting around. Or to allow them to be placed close to resources. Because I think there's a setting that won't let you place them too close to a loot drop, or too close to like a metal node or something like that. You can tweak those settings if you want. So if it's green, you can place it. And you can see right now it moves around freely. But once I place it, it snaps in place and there's a circle. On console, if you look around, it rotates. If you want to cancel and not put it there, press circle. And you see it's not there anymore. So let's go back in. Let's go ahead and place it there and see how it looks. Yeah, that'll work. And you can see they snap to each other now. All the structures, they have snap points. Some of them are very frustrating, and you'll see that once we get to more advanced buildings with the other items. But they have snap points that just don't make sense, and it gets frustrating because it really limits what you can build, and you have to use like these weird gimmick things to try and build anything remotely interesting. But for now, let's go ahead and place these 2 right here. Yeah, see, because I have the one setting set where it lets me place things down so they clip. Normally, you wouldn't be able to place something down like this. The game wouldn't let you because of the rock. But I can because of my settings. Now, I'm not going to let that rock stay there because it looks horrible. I'm going to demolish it in a minute. But before I demolish it, one more point in the weight. and I want to learn the storage box. Learn the storage box before you learn sleeping bag or anything else. You literally want it to be stone hatchet, armor, then possibly a spear, then thatch, and then storage box, and then you can start learning anything else. Because you need the armor and the tools to survive and to build. You need the structure to keep you safe, and you need a storage box to drop off stuff, or else you're going to be carrying too much weight and you can't do anything. This is a hoarding game. If anybody out there has played Skyrim and they have a house that's completely that with a treasure chest that's full of like 13,000 items because they don't want to just get rid of anything, but then they can't sell it or they don't want to sell it, this is your game. It's good to hoard things because you need so much resources. So we're going to go back to inventory, to crafting. Let's go ahead and make a storage chest real quick. Leveled up again. Like I said, you level up fast. I'm actually leveling up rather slow because I'm explaining a lot of stuff. But for now, it doesn't really matter. Probably going to end up moving and destroying a lot of this stuff. I'll go ahead and just slap it down right there. And to free up some inventory space, we're going to drop in the narco berries and the arrows because I can't do anything with them yet, so there's no point to hold on to them. Let's go ahead and level up again. Now I got my way up to 150. Typically what I do next is I used to focus on getting my health up for survivability, but I've found that getting your movement speed up actually is even better than increasing your health. There are some fairly fast dinosaurs in the game, and some of them you can't outrun unless you put every single point in your movement speed. You're not gonna outrun them, but you can outrun a majority of the dinosaurs on the game if you get your movement speed up to 113%. So from here on, I focus on getting my movement speed up to 113. Once it's at 113, then I start focusing on other stuff. So a point, and it's gonna take your movement. It's gonna take a while to get your movement speed up. Your next several levels are just going straight to that. Now from here, what you can start learning is up to you. A good thing, I typically like learning the sloped thatch wall left, right, and the sloped thatch roof. It lets you start building stuff. I'm gonna take care of that dillo here soon, which we will. Oh, campfire. You need to get a campfire. That's why I had so many engram points. I forgot to get that. But you also might want to get the mortar pestle and then our narcotic next, because that will let you really start grinding out levels. I prefer going with building. I like building in this game. It's one of my favorite things to mess around with. So I'm going to go for that instead. Where'd that dillo go? I'm going to have to kill it here soon. Oh, it was over there. Okay. So now let's go ahead and keep building. Get our base somewhat safe. Let's go ahead and build 2 walls. Or 2 doorways. 2 doors. 4, 6, 7, 8. 8 walls. 2 of those. 2. Oops. I need more resources. But we're in a decent spot. So, for the moment, let's go ahead and put you there. You there. Oh wait, actually, oh, and here's the cool thing. It used to be that once you play something, it was there permanently. You could only destroy it. Now you actually have about a 30-second timer, and you can pick stuff up again if you accidentally put it in the wrong place, which is really nice because the snap points get gimmicky, and things will sometimes move on their own. So as you were hitting place. So if you want to pick it up, just look at it, hold triangle. Whew, I was about to not be able to pick that up, so I started speeding up. I'm going to put this doorway right here for now. And that dillo is getting closer as he's attacking other stuff. Yes, it's dumb looking and pointless to have these 2 doors right next to each other. But this is so high up and I can't do anything here yet. So I will have a door over here, but not now. Let's go ahead and fill in the spaces with walls. Like I said, I'm going to destroy that stone or that boulder here in a moment. There we go. Place these down. Place you down. And let's see, let's look at the other thatch stuff. What do I need? Probably more thatch. Yes, more thatch and wood. Alright. Let's go take care of that dillo. I'll show off a little bit of combat. Where is he? Over here somewhere. Alright, so now I don't like wooden spears that much. Everything has in the game has a durability. Wooden spears have a durability, but it's random. It's completely RNG. I've taken on a pack of dillos and only used one spear, and I've gone through 5 spears trying to kill one dillo. A low level one too, not a high level one. It's just it's RNG. You can use one once and it'll break. You can use one 100 times and it'll still keep going. Like I don't know what it is. Where'd this stupid dillo go? Yeah, if you're in a safe area, typically dillos are one of the most aggressive things you're going to find, and they're fairly easy to deal with as long as they're not in packs in large numbers or a high level packs. If it's just 1 or 2 and they're low level ones, you're perfectly fine. Where'd this dude go? I saw him attack that moss chop and the thing ran away. Is he over here behind this boulder? Yep, there he is. They spit a gunk at you, and it snares you, which means you move really slow, and your vision gets all messed up. It's really easy to avoid, and beating them is really easy. So let's see, just go up. Once you get within range, they'll aggro. There, that was him aggroing, his attacking. And you can see, I can outpace them just by walking backwards. So they're pretty easy to avoid, or I can almost outpace them. Now, level 20 is easy. Hit him once. If you use your spear, it has a knockback, and you see it knocked him away from me. Now, you saw when he spit, so the 2 hits, my spear broke. When he spits, all you need to do is strafe. See? Ooh, I got lucky. I hit the tree, and that messed me up. If you strafe, it'll always miss you. If you continue going in a straight line, if you try and circle around him or whatever, it'll hit you, and you'll get snared. But there, that was it. So now we can. This is actually a good source of meat and hide, or an okay source. Now, you have this. I haven't gone over it, but the pick and the hatchet, they gather different. They gather the same resource, but they gather different amounts of each resource. So, for instance, if I want to gather hide, I want to use my hatchet on these dinosaurs. You harvest them and you get more hide than you do meat. If you want more meat, you use your pick. Now, a small creature like this, it's not really going to make that much of a difference. You should gather a couple more of one or the other of whatever item you're using, but I've also used a pick and gotten more hide than meat before too. So it's just kind of luck. You see right there, I got 23 hide and 14 meat. I've used a pick and gotten 30 hide and 10 meat before. Yeah. So, but anyways, yeah, we need to finish building that. We needed thatch and wood. So if you want thatch, you go up to the tree, use your pick. You can see we're getting more thatch. If you want wood, go up to the tree and use your axe. And you can see now I'm getting more wood. So let's go ahead and build one more of you. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 5. Come on, turn around. That should be enough for one more. There we go. And you see, if I was playing with standard settings, it would have been night already. And if you want to know what time it is, on the PlayStation, if you hold the touchpad, it brings up this, and if you look at the left side of the screen, it tells you it's 2 o'clock, day 1. It tells you where you're at and the temperature. It says your name with your level. But now that we're done here, let's go ahead and place these down. And place these sloped ceilings. Now with ceilings, you gotta be careful. Most ceilings, they only have snap points on the sides, and I don't like that. It's dumb. You can't, like for instance, I can snap this ceiling in the correct spot because of this sloped wall right there. If I was to try and go through and put this on the from the outside, it doesn't let me until I get close to that. If I'm right here in the middle, you see that it keeps snapping to the wall in front of me or to the floor. Yeah, like it gets really weird. You got to experiment with the snap points because they have certain rules. Because sometimes some of these things you would look at and you'd be like, oh, it's pretty obvious. That should snap to there, and then you go to do it and they won't. It's really, some of them have really weird snap points. But there we go. We have our first house, or we have a hut set up. So we have armor, we have weapons, we have tools, and we just need to make a fireplace. I just need a little bit more thatch. And with this, we just survived our first day. That was more thatch than I needed, but that's perfectly fine. Let's go ahead and put this fire pit down. The fire pit, it can be inside. Yeah, I can literally put it right here if I want. It's not going to burn the place down. You can put it on the ground. I point that out because some things do have to be on a foundation, and some things can be just placed on the ground. So just if you're not sure if it needs a foundation or not, just try to put it down. Excuse me. If you can't, then yeah, there you go. But anyways, let's put the fireplace right here. Wrong button. Go ahead and throw some wood in there. Throw in the meat. Oh, but real quick, meat. Like I said, almost everything has durability. There's food has a spoil time. You can see right now this meat is going to spoil in 6 minutes. Now it's not going to be the whole stack. It's just going to be this top piece. The top piece will spoil. It'll become spoiled meat. It'll go in your inventory, and this stack will drop down to 13. And then the spoil timer will reset, and then the next piece will start spoiling down. There's some cool little tricks I found with it. I'm sure other people know, but yeah, I found it. Once I realized it, I was like, well, that was pretty obvious. I should have been doing that from the beginning, and I never did. And we'll go into that later, because you need spoiled meat. You want a lot of spoiled meat. Like, spoiled meat is probably one of the biggest resources you're going to be going through. That and metal ingots, because you need spoiled meat to make narcotics. You need narcotics to tame dinosaurs, and the best way to tame dinosaurs is with trank darts. Until you get to like level 90, I think it is, when you can get shocking trank darts. But you still need trank darts to make shocking trank darts. So it's going to be something you use throughout the whole entire game. So it's something you need to learn how to make. But anyways, we'll get to that later. But for now, just if you want to transfer something from one inventory to the next, you can double tap X to move one. You can see I just moved the one meat. Oh, excuse me. Or if you want, you can hold X over that stack and it moves the whole stack. Now, everything is in here, but we need to turn the fire on. There's different ways you can do it. If you look at it, it says triangle to light fire. That's the easiest way. If you're in the inventory, you can go to this middle window, and you can go to light fire there, and you can see that it lights it. Now, what's weird is that some things you can... oh god, I'm having a brain fart on what it is. Some things you can activate using square. Don't get into the habit of using that, though. When it pops up, I'll point it out again. Get in the habit of using triangle, because those items, because if you get in the habit of using square, it's going to screw up other things later on. So if you want to light a fire, always use triangle. Another thing you can do is, if you look at something, if you hold triangle, it brings up in this menu. This is how we picked up the wall earlier. And you can see you can put the fire out from here. You can access the inventory from here, and you can also demolish the fire from here. Kind of pointless because you can just look at it and press square to access the inventory, but it's a way of doing it. That method becomes far more predominant or useful when you're dealing with your dinosaurs, because that's how you manage your dinosaurs, their behavior, their settings, and stuff like that. Ooh, excuse me. That's how you manage all that with that radial menu. But we're done. We survived. This will get you through your first few in-game days of Ark. And that is the basics on, crafting, leveling, things you want to aim for, and why you want to aim for them. And that's about it. I know I skipped a lot of things. I was talking fast. I probably jumped away from something to point at something else and forgot to come back. I hope it wasn't too chaotic, because there's just a lot and it was going fast. Because, well, I like this game, and doing a beginner's guide is kind of dumb because I'm eager to get to the other stuff. But it's the way I'm just naturally wanting to do it. I love talking about this game, and I like helping people with it. So that's gonna wrap up this episode. And yeah, well, I'll talk about that later. So wrap up this episode. We now have food, we have a house, we have clothing, we have tools, and we have a water source. We can survive. As long as nothing else changes, we will survive forever from this moment on. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.